Hello guys, welcome back. Myself Assistant Professor Gaurang Prajapati from Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Technical Education and Research Center, Nosari. So, in the previous video, we have covered the first 7 steps of design of Stephen plate girder. Now in this video, I am going to carry on the design. Okay. So now let's start the design with step number 8, that is shear capacity of the end panel. Okay. Now, in the end panel, normally the forces which are produced in the Stephen plate girder are known as anchor forces. So, first of all, we need to check the end panel which is creating by providing the stiffener. Okay, so we have to check the capacity of the end panel in case of shear force and we can say bending moment. So, for that one, we will go first of all into the code. Just a minute, let me take you to the code. See, on the page number 62 in the code, see, we are on the page number 62. Then now over here you can see the close 8.5.3 anchor forces, the resultant longitudinal shear, that is RTF, and a moment, that is MTF, from the anchor of the tension field forces are evaluated as given below, and they have given us two formula: RTF equals to HQ by 2 and MTF equals to HQ into D by 10. So unknown parameters are HQ. So for that one, where HQ equals to, that is this one, 1.25 times Vp in the bracket 1 minus VCR upon Vp whole raised to 1 by 2. Now in this one, unknown parameters are Vp and VCR. We have already calculated VCR in the previous step, in step number 7. And talking about Vp, it is given over here, that is formula stands for D into T into Fi divided by root 3, where unknown D stands for depth of wave, T stands for thickness of wave, and Fi, that is 250 Newton per mm square. So ultimately, once we will get the value of Vp, then from Vp we will get the value of HQ, and from HQ we will get the value of RTF as well as we can say MTF. Okay, so now let's calculate those terms. So for that one, now in this one, so as we have discussed, first of all let's write down the formula of the code. So first of all, just a minute, resultant longitudinal shear, that is RTF, and resultant longitudinal moment, that is MTF. Okay, so RTF's formula HQ by 2 and MTF's formula HQ into D by 10, both are given in close 8.5.3 page number 62. Now in this one, HQ is this one, that is over here. Now let's talk about the unknown parameters. First of all, we need to calculate first of all Vp, so that we will get the value of HQ and MTF. So in order to calculate Vp, the formula stands for this one, D into T into Fi divided by root 3. Now unknown parameters of these terms are over here: D, depth of wave, that is 1900, T, thickness of wave, that is 10 mm, and Fi, that is yield strength of steel, 250 Newton per mm square. Okay, so now just calculate Vp. Let's put down the formula: D 1900, T, thickness of wave 10 mm, and Fi, that is 250 Newton per mm square, divided by root 3. By simplifying the term, we will get the answer 2742.41 into 10 raised to 3 Newton. Let's convert it into kilonewton, 2742.41 kilonewton. Okay, now let's put down this value of Vp in this formula, so we will get the value of HQ. So for that one, HQ equals to this term, 1.25 Vp in the bracket 1 minus VCR by Vp whole raised to 1 by 2. Now in this one, unknown parameters are VCR and Vp. We have already get the value of Vc, that is this one, sorry, Vp, that is this one, 2742. Now talking about VCR, over here in the previous step we have calculated the value of VCR, 747.49 kilonewton. So now let's put down this value in this formula. So HQ equals to 1.25 times Vp in the bracket 1 minus VCR by Vp raised to 1 by 2. Let's put down the value 1.25 Vp 2742.41 in the bracket 1 minus VCR, that is 747.49, and Vp 2742.41 whole raised to 1 by 2. So ultimately we will get the answer HQ, that is 2923.74 kilonewton. So once we have get the value of HQ, now let's put down this value in the formula of RTF. Okay, so RTF stands for HQ by 2. HQ, that is 2923.74 divided by 2. So we will get the answer 1461.87 kilonewton. Now what does this indicate? That end panel required to resist this much resultant force. Okay, so now this one should be less than VD. VD we have already calculated in step number 6. VD indicates the total shear force of the plate girder. That is, just a minute, in step number 6 we have already calculated VD. Over here you can see that was 2493.1 kilonewton. So as RTF is less than, we can say, VD, our condition gets satisfied, hence okay. So we can say the end panel is safe to carry the longitudinal shear due to anchor forces. So this one is the anchor forces which produces the resultant shear force, okay, which is resisted by VD. Okay, now so next, that is, we need to calculate the moment capacity of the end panel, and for that one MTF's formula is there, that is this one, just a minute, HQ into D by 10. Okay, so now let's put down the value over here, just a minute. So moment due to anchor force is MTF. Formula stands for HQ into D by 10. HQ, that is 2923.74. Let's convert it into Newton, that is multiply by 10 raised to 3. D, depth of wave 1900, divide by 10. By simplifying the term, we will get the answer 555.51 into 10 raised to 6 Newton into mm. Let's convert it into kilonewton into meter. Okay, so this is the moment which required to resist by the end panel. So for that one, what we need to do, we need to calculate the moment capacity of the end panel. So for that one, let us just draw the top view of the plate girder. See, this one is the top view of the plate girder, this one is our plate girder. Now at the end we will provide end stiffener like this on the both side of the wave. So this is the end bearing stiffener, and just a minute, this is our wave. Then at the distance of C, we will provide, at the distance of C, that is spacing between two stiffener, we will provide the ITS, that is over here. Okay, so ultimately this will become our end panel. So now we need to carry out its moment capacity. Okay, so for that one, what we need to do, we need to calculate moment of this one. So for that one, just a minute, say MQ equals to Z into Fy divided by gamma m0. That's the moment capacity of the end panel. Now Fy, that is 250 Newton by mm square, and gamma m0, that is constant 1.10. We need to calculate Z for that one, and in order to calculate Z, we need to calculate Z in this manner. Z equals to I by Y max, that is section modulus. Okay, moment of inertia divided by Y max. No, so first of all, talking about Y max. Y max indicates the CG of the end panel. See, this one is our end panel, so CG of this one, obviously it will be at the center, so this will be Y max, or we can say Y bar. So total distance is, we can say, 2400, so its CG will be obviously center. Okay, so Y max equals to, we can say, C by 2, that is 2400 by 2. So we will get the answer, that is 1200. So first of all, we have got the answer of Y max, that is this one. Now let's talk about I. We need to calculate I of the end panel with respect to YY axis. See, this is our YY axis, so it will be dB cube by 12 ultimately. Okay, so C, that's the spacing that is getting cut by the YY axis, and we can say TW, that stands for thickness of wave. Okay, so ultimately our formula will be TW into C cube by 12. TW, that stands for thickness of wave 10, and C, that is center spacing between two stiffener, that is 2400 cube by 12. By simplifying the term, we will get the answer 1.15 into 10 raised to 10. So once we get the value of I as well as Y max, now with the help of these two value, I can easily get the value of Z. Okay, so let's put down this value in the Z. Z equals to I by Y max. I, that is 1.15 into 10 raised to 10, and Y max, that is 1200, that is this one. By simplifying the term, I will get the value of Z, that is 9.6 into 10 raised to 6 mm cube. And once I get the value of Z, let's put down this value in this formula, m cube. Okay, so now mq equals to z, that is this one, 9.6 into 10 raised to 6, fy that is 250, and gamma m0 that is 1.10. By simplifying the term, I will get the answer 2181.82 into 10 raised to 6 Newton into mm. Let's convert it into kilonewton into meter, multiplied by 10 raised to minus 6. So ultimately its moment capacity will be 2181.82 kilonewton into meter. Now this indicates moment capacity of the end panel, means moment end panel is capable of carrying this much bending moment. Now it should be greater than requirement of mtf. We have already calculated mtf earlier. Just a minute, mtf is over here, you can see. Just a minute, yeah, see, mtf is 555.51, and over here that is moment capacity of end panel, which is greater than this one. And okay, so our end panel is capable of carrying shear force and bending moment. Okay, so end panel can carry bending moment due to the anchor forces. Clear? So this one is the step number 8, that is shear capacity of end panel. Now moving forward, step number 9, that is design of end bearing stiffener array. Now as we are going to design stiffened plate girder, here we need to provide two stiffeners. Number one at the support, that is end bearing stiffener, and the other that is at the intermediate places, that is intermediate transfer stiffener, that's called ITS. So for that one, what we need to do, we have already calculated moment over here, mtf. Now this indicates the moment of due to the anchor forces. Now because of this anchor forces, reactions will also getting produced. See, this one is the beam view of, we can say, the end panel. This one is the reaction. Over here ITS will be there at point B, ITS will be there, okay, at the distance of C, and over here mtf moment is there. So ultimately we can say reaction moment equals to, we can say, reactions into, we can say, spacing, that's we can say m. So r equals to, we can say, m by c. Okay, so I'm going to use this formula over here. See, compression force due to moment mtf, ra dash equals to mtf divided by c. We have already calculated mtf 555.46 and c that is 2.4 meter. So answer will be 231.46 kilonewton. Now this reaction is because of mtf, and we have already calculated reactions in step number 2, that is 2160 kilonewton. Okay, now let's calculate, or we can say add these two reactions. So total compression force equals to ra plus ra dash, ra 2160, ra dash 231.46. so ultimately total compression reaction will be 2391.46 kilonewton. Now that is requirement, means we need to design a stiffener which can resist this much compression force. Okay, so now in order to design the stiffener, first of all we need to carry out the area of the stiffener. Okay, so for that one I'm going to use the formula of page number 68. So let me take you to the code. First of all, page number 68, just a minute. Now, so here the formula is 8.7.5.2 bearing check. We are on the page number 68. Okay, now the formula stands for this one, FPSD equals to EQFIQ divided by 0.8 gamma m0, and it should be greater than Fx. Fx is nothing, we can say external load or reaction, that is we can say Vz. Okay, so for that one let's go back to the material. So now say FPSD, that is EQFIQ divided by 0.8 gamma m0 as per the clause 8.7.5.2 page number 68. Now let's take FPSD equals to FC, that is total compression force, 2391.46 kilonewton. Let's convert it into Newton. Okay, and then let's put down this value of FPSD in this formula. So 2391.46 into 10 raised to 3, AQ unknown, Fy that is 250.8, and gamma m0 that is 1.10. So from this formula we will get the value of AQ, that is area of the stiffener. So AQ equals to 8417.95 mm square. Now that's the requirement of the area of the stiffener. So now we need to design a stiffener. So design of bedding stiffener. Let's start the design. So for that one, first of all, what we need to assume, or we can say decide the thickness and width of the stiffener. So first parameters, let's talk about the thickness. Assume the thickness of stiffener, that is we can say twice the thickness of, we can say, wave. We have already taken the thickness of wave as 10 mm, so 2 into 10, that is 20. So let's take round figure value 22. If you want to assume 20 as a thickness of wave, thickness of stiffener, then also it's okay, there is no issue with that one. Okay, I'm just going on the safer side. So I'm taking 22 mm as a thickness of the stiffener. Then let's just check the, as we are going to design, or we can say provide the stiffener on the both side of the wave. So let us check that how much dimension is available on both side of the, we can say, wave. So let me take you to the sketch of step number 3. See, we are going to design end bearing stiffener over here in this portion on the both side of the wave, this one and this one, like this. Okay, so let's calculate this space. How much space is there? So total is 600 and wave is 10 mm. So 600 minus 10 divided by 2. So ultimately 590 divided by 2. So ultimately it will be 295 mm. Clear? So 295 mm is over here as well as over here also. So these spaces are of 295. So our width of stiffener should not be greater than this one, because we have available only this much space over here. Okay, so just a minute. See, that's what I have done over here. Assume dimension of stiffener should not be greater than this one. So 600 minus 10 by 2, that is 295 mm. So on the page number 65, they have also given us the criteria for carry out the maximum and minimum dimension of the stiffener. Just a minute, let me take you in the code, page number 65 over here. Yeah, on page number 65 they have given the criteria over here, 8.7.1.2, that is outside of wave stiffener. Over here they have given us the two criteria, that is the outside of the wave of the stiffener should not exceed 20 TQ epsilon and minimum, that is 14 TQ epsilon. Okay, so our maximum dimension for 20 TQ epsilon and minimum 14. So on the base of that, what they have told us in this one, that if our dimension is between 14 TQ, see, when the outside of the wave is between 14 TQ epsilon and 20 TQ epsilon, then the stiffener design should be on the basis of the core section with an outside of 14 TQ epsilon, where TQ equals to thickness of stiffener. Means what? If our assumed dimension of the, or we can say width of the stiffener, is between 14 TQ epsilon and we can say 20 TQ epsilon, then we can use the core section of 14 TQ epsilon, that is this one. Means out of the total dimension, only 14 TQ epsilon is our effective area, or we can say core section. But as we are going to design the stiffened plate girder, so we need much more safety for that one. So what we will do, we will assume our dimension in such a way that 20 TQ epsilon as well as 14 TQ epsilon both will be greater than our assumed dimension of the stiffener. This one indicates the width of the stiffener. Okay, so first of all I will calculate 20 TQ epsilon and 14 TQ epsilon, then I will assume the BQ less than both these values. Meanwhile the total dimensions available on the both side of wave is 295 mm, so I have to keep that one also in our mind. Okay, so just a minute. So now first of all what I will do, that first of all, just for a moment forget about this one. Okay, what I will do, first of all I will calculate 20 TQ epsilon. 20 TQ, that is stiffness, thickness of the stiffener, that is 22. 20 times 22, so our answer is 440 mm. Then outside of the core section, that is 14 TQ epsilon, that is 14 times 22, answer is 308 mm. So now I need to assume the dimension of the stiffener in such a way that 14 TQ epsilon and 20 TQ epsilon, 440 greater than 308 should be greater than the BQ, which I am going to assume. Meanwhile the space available on the both side of the stiffener or wave is 295 mm, so I have to assume BQ which is less than this one, 295. So now either I can take, we can say 290, or we can say 280, 270, 260, like that, or 250. Make sure that your assumed dimension should not be less than this 14 TQ epsilon. Okay, no, sorry, it should be greater than this one. So ultimately we have the dimensions criteria, that this one 440, then we can say 308, and meanwhile I am having space only 295. So our PQ should be less than all these three values. Okay, so right now I am assuming the dimension as of PQ as 260 mm, this one. Okay, if you want to assume 290, then also you can assume 290, or we can say 285 or 280, up to you. Okay, I am assuming 260 as the width of the stiffener. So as see over here, let's assume the width of the stiffener BQ as 260 mm. Okay, so try any pair of stiffener 260 cross 22, and as 260 it is less than both 440 and 308. Okay, so as we can say 20 TQ epsilon and 14 TQ epsilon both are greater than BQ, then BQ will be whole, becomes the core section, or we can say outstand. So let us draw the plan of this one. Say this one is our wave. Okay, and these are our stiffener, and the whole stiffener is effective, say of 260 mm, width is 22, and over here width of the web, that is 10 mm. This one is our web, and this one is our hand bearing stiffener. Okay, so now what we need to do, whenever we are providing any stiffener, we need to carry out its buckling resistance. Okay, means compression strength. So buckling resistance, PD equals to effective area into FCD. Okay, effective area means the area of the highlighted portion over here. We can say 2 times 260 multiplied by 22. See, so area of the stiffener, just a minute. So area of the stiffener, that is 2 times BQ into DQ, that is 2 times 260 into 22. So answer is 11440 mm square. That's the criteria of the, we can say, area of the stiffener. Now we need to calculate FCD, design compressive strength, of this highlighted portion, this one and this one. So in order to calculate FCD, we need slenderness ratio, that's KL by RY. So first of all, let's calculate slenderness ratio for that one. Just a minute. Yeah. Now in order to find FCD, find the following. Say slenderness ratio KL by RY, that is equals to 0.7 D by RY. Unknown parameters, D, that is depth of wave 1900, and RY, that is like always radius of gyration, and formula for radius of gyration is, we can say, root of I by A. So root of I by A, that means what, we need to carry out moment of inertia and area of this highlighted portion. Say we have already area of this one, this and this. Now we need to carry out I. So what we will do, first of all we will carry out the moment of inertia of the whole section, that is 22 into, means PD cube by 12. So 22 into 260 plus this 10 plus 260 cube by 12. Okay, and then from that one we will deduct this portion. Okay, as this is the part of wave, so that is width 22, and depth, that is, we can say, 10 mm, 10 cube by 12. This area will be deducted from the whole area. Okay, so I have done the same thing over here, you can see. Just a minute. Say 22 in the bracket 260 plus 10 plus 260 cube by 12. Okay, and I have deducted the wave portion from that one, minus 22 into 10 cube by 12. So ultimately I will get the moment of inertia 272.94 into 10 raised to 6 mm raised to 4. Once I get that one, then area, we have already value of the area, that is 11440. Once I get this two, so I can calculate RY, root of I by I is this one, and area, that is 11440. So ultimately I will get the RY, that is 154.46 mm. Once I get the value of RY, now let's put down this value RY over there in this formula and calculate KL by RY. So KL by RY, 0.7 D by RY, 0.7 D, that is 1900, RY, that is 154.46. So I get the answer 8.61. So once I get the value of the slenderness ratio, I need to do the interpolation using the table number 9C, page number 42. Okay, so let's go to the table 9C, page number 42. We have got the slenderness ratio, that is 8.61. Just a minute. Yeah. Now page number 42. When you will see on page number 42, over here table 9C is given to us for the FCD buckling, say design compressive strength for the class C. Okay, but over here we can see that the slenderness ratio is starting from 10. Okay, we need to take the yield stress, that is 250, but as KL by R, that is slenderness ratio, starts from 0, and as our value is 8.61, which is less than 10, so we need to take slenderness ratio equals to 10 only. So I can take the direct value of the 10, that is we can say 227 of 250 Newton per mm square. Okay, so our answer will be 227 Newton per mm square, as it is less than 10. So let's go back to the material, just a minute. See, as it is less than 10, so we are going to take it as a 10. Okay, now from the value of KL by R equals to 10 and yield says Fy 250 Newton per mm square, from table number 9C, page number 42, I can get the value of FCD, that is 227 Newton per mm square. Once we get the value of FCD, now we can easily calculate this one, that is buckling resistance, and this answer should be greater than our FCA, that which was our requirement, total compression force, that was over here 2391.46. okay, so let's calculate. Yeah, so PD equals to effective area into FCD. Effective area was 11440, FCD 227. So our answer comes 2596.88 into 10 to 3 Newton. Let's convert it into kilonewton, 2596.88 kilonewton, and it should be greater than FC, that was 2391.44 kilonewton. And it's okay, our conditions are getting satisfied. What does this indicate? That the stiffener which we have designed, means 260 cross 22 mm, they can resist the total buckling force of 2596.88 kilonewton, and our requirement was 2391.44 kilonewton. Okay, hence the stiffener is safe against the buckling. And meanwhile, also cross check the area of the stiffener which we have provided. Area of the stiffener is 11,4440. It should be greater than AQ, which we have calculated earlier. Let us cross check AQ, that is, yeah, this one 8417, and our area of the stiffener is 11440, which is greater than this one, hence okay. Okay, so the main reason for providing the stiffener to resist the buckling force is getting satisfied. Now we need to carry out one more check for this one, that is check the stiffener as load bearing stiffener at A. Okay, now for that one we need to carry out the local capacity of the wave, and in order to calculate the local capacity of the wave, we need to use this formula which is given on page number 67. So let's go back to the formula, just a minute. On page number 67, just a minute. See, bearing stiffener, this indicates the local capacity of the wave. Local capacity of wave, FW, formula stands for B1 plus N2 whole multiplied by TW into FIW divided by gamma m0. What does this indicate? Local capacity of the wave. This indicates the wave is capable of carrying out this much force. Okay, so let's just calculate this one. So just a minute. Now the formula stands for B1 plus N2 whole multiplied by TW into FIW by gamma m0 as per the close number 8.7.4, page number 67. Let's talk about the unknown parameters. First of all, B1, that is stiff bearing length, always assume as 0. N2, that is length obtained by the dispersion through the flange to the wave junction at a slope of 1 jem 2.5 to the plane of the flange, means dispersion on as on the one side by the N stiffener, so it will be 2.5 times TF. Okay, 2.5 times TF. TF is thickness of flange, that is 50. let's put down the value over here. So answer is 125. Then TW, that is thickness of wave, that is 10 mm, and we can say FIW 250, gamma m0 1.10. Now let's put down all this value in this formula. So 0 plus 125, TW that is 10, FIW 250, and gamma m0 1.10. By simplifying the term, we will get the answer 284.09 into 10 to 3 Newton. Let's convert it into kilonewton. Means wave can easily resist this much force, and our requirement was FC. So the stiffener which we have designed, it should carry the force FC minus FW. Why we are deducting FW? That indicates the local capacity, means wave is capable of carrying this much force. So we need to design a stiffener which can resist FC minus FW force. Okay, so for that one we need to calculate. See, bearing stiffener is designed for FC minus FW. So FC we have already calculated over here. Just a minute, at the starting of the step. Just a minute, yeah, over here 2391.46 kilonewton. Okay, so just a minute, yeah. See, so 2391.46 and FW that is 284.09. So ultimately our requirement criteria is 2107.37 kilonewton. So we the stiffener which we have provided need to resist this much our final force. Okay, for that one we are going to use the same formula which we have used earlier in the step, that is bearing strength of the stiffener, FPSD. See, from this formula we got the area of the stiffener. Just a minute, over here. Okay, I am going to use the same formula, but right now we will calculate this time FCD. Previously we have taken the FCD as FC. Okay, on page number 68. So let's calculate once again. This FPSD indicates that your finally stiffener can resist this much force. So bearing strength of the stiffener, FPSD, AQFIQ divided by 0.8 gamma m0. Unknown parameters is only AQ, that is area of the stiffener. We have provided stiffener of the size 260 cross 22 mm. Now one pair of stiffener is there, so multiply by 2. So ultimately answer is 11440. We have already calculated this area. Let's put down this value over here. Fi 250, 0.8 constant, gamma m0 1.10. So our final answer is, we can say 3250 into 10 to 3 Newton. So let's convert it into kilonewton. So 3250 kilonewton. So this FPSD indicates the bearing strength of stiffener, and it should be greater than FC minus FW, that was 2107. So condition is getting satisfied, and it's okay. The stiffener is safe as a load bearing stiffener. So this step number 9 indicates the design of end bearing stiffener. Okay, now going forward, step number 10. Now we have already designed the end bearing stiffener, so now in this one we are going to design the ITS, that is intermediate transfer stiffener, at B point. Okay, now in order to calculate the intermediate transfer stiffener at B, first of all let's use the code criteria, that is on page number 66. They have given the criteria over here on page number 66, clause number 8.7.2.4, minimum stiffener. Over here they have given the criteria. If C by D is greater or equals to root 2, then IS that should be greater than 0.75 times D TW cube, or if C by D is less than root 2 over here, then IS should be greater or equals 1.5 times D cube TW cube divided by C square, where D depth of wave and TW thickness of wave, and C that is spacing between the stiffener. So we have all the values, so just calculate these one parameters. So now see, this is the criteria which is given in the code. I have given the same parameters over here as per the code, page number 66, clause number 8.7.2.4. So in this one, unknown parameters is C, that is we can say spacing of stiffener 2400, D depth of wave, that is 1900. So let's calculate its ratio. Say C by D. So okay, one editing mistake is there. C is 2400 and D that is 1900. Okay, so its ratio will be 1.26. Okay, just printing mistake is there. So it is 1.26, which is less than root 2. Root 2 indicates 1.41 value. Okay, which is less than 1.41. So we are going to use the formula which is given over here, which is less than root 2. Okay, so we are going to use this one, is. Okay, so see, is equals to 1.5 times d cube tw cube divided by c square. So 1.5 d, depth of wave 1900 cube, tw that is 10 cube, and divided by c square, that is 2400 square. So our answer is 1.79 into 10 raised to 6 mm raised to 4. So this one is the moment of inertia which is required to resist by the intermediate transverse stiffener. So now we need to design ITS in such a way that it carry, or we can say it resists this much moment of inertia. So let's just design the dimension of ITS. So to design the dimension of ITS is quite easy as compared to the end bearing stiffener. What we need to do? So design of ITS. So first one, assume the thickness of the stiffener, that is, just take half of the thickness of end bearing stiffener. We have taken the thickness of end bearing stiffener 22, so half of 22 is 11. So let's take round figure value 10 mm. Then same case with the width, half the width of the end bearing stiffener, that is we have taken 260 by 2, so that's 130 mm. That's okay. So now I can try a pair of the stiffener that is of 130 by 10 mm. So this is exactly half of the end bearing stiffener. Meanwhile, before deciding this one, let's cross check that our 20 TQ epsilon is greater than 14 TQ epsilon is greater than the our width of the stiffener, which is assumed by us, that is 130. Okay, so 20 into TQ stands for thickness of the stiffener, that is 10 mm. So 20 TQ, that is 200. Just a minute. 20 TQ, that is 200. 14 TQ, that is 14 into 10, 140. So our assumed dimension of stiffener, that is BQ, 130. It should be less than both of these value. Right now it is less than, hence okay. Okay, so 20 TQ is greater than, we can say, 130. 14 TQ epsilon is also greater than 130, and it's okay, as 20 TQ is greater than 14 TQ epsilon is greater than BQ, so we can use the outside of the BQ, that is 130 mm. So now once again we need to do the same thing. So just let's draw the plan. This one is the wave, as it is ITS, so wave will be on both sides of this one. Then this one is our stiffener. Dimension is 130 by 10, again 130 by 10. Okay, so that's our ITS, 130 by 10. So first of all, what we need to do, that first of all we have got the target of the moment of inertia. We have already calculated over here. Just a minute. Yeah, just a minute. That is this one. So we need to resist this moment of inertia by the stiffener which we have designed. So first let's calculate its moment of inertia. So moment of inertia, let's calculate the whole moment of inertia of the whole vertical member. So 10 into 130 plus thickness of wave 10 plus 130 cube by 12. Say 10 into 130 plus 10 plus 130 cube by 12, and from this one deduct the central portion of the wave, this one. Okay, this portion will be deducted, so this portion is over here, minus 10 into 10 cube by 12. Okay, so we will get the answer, that is, we can say 16.4 into 10 raised to 6 mm raised to 4, which should be greater than the moment of inertia requirement, that was 1.79 into 10 raised to 6, and our answer has come 16.4 into 10 raised to 6, which is quite greater than, and it's okay. So moment of inertia's criteria is getting satisfied. Now we need to provide one buckling check for that one. Just a minute, let me take you for that one in the code. So moment of inertia condition is getting satisfied, but meanwhile we need to also cross check one more condition, that is this one, buckling check 8.7.2.5 on page number 67. Condition stands for this one, FQ equals to V minus VCR by gamma M0, and it should be less than FQD, where FQD equals to design resistance of the intermediate stiffener. So we need to calculate now FQD, that is this one. Okay, let's go back to the material. Now, so first of all, FQ formula stands for S4 8.7.2.5, page number 67. Formula stands for V minus VCR by gamma m0. Now we have already calculated VCR in step number 7. Okay, 747.78. Now talking about V stands for, we can say, shear force at B. Now for that one, just a minute, let me take you to the figure. We have drawn the plan of this one over here. Yeah, see, in the step number 8, well, we were calculating the anchor forces in the end panel. Let me draw the beam section of this one. See, this is our end, that is, we can say, reaction RA, and at the distance of C, one ITS will be there over here. So then let's give it a name as B. So meanwhile, UDL will be acting over here of the load 180 kilonewton per meter, which we have calculated in step number 1. Okay, so what we need to do, we need to calculate shear force at B. For that one, simple criteria of the shear force, upward plus and downward minus. RA is upward, see, you can see, so V equals to RA, that is upward, and UDL is acting downward direction of the W. UDL is W, spacing is C, so minus W into C. We have all the values of this one. RA step number 2, W step number 1, and spacing step number 7. We have all the values of that one. Okay, so let's calculate V for that one. Yeah. So V stands for, as I told you, RA minus W into C. RA 2160, W 180 kilonewton per meter, and 2.4 meter spacing, center to center spacing between the stiffener. So I will get the answer 1728 kilonewton. That's the answer of V. Now let's put down this value in this formula. V 1728, VCR 747.49 divided by gamma m0 1.10. By simplifying the term, I will get the answer, that is 891.37 kilonewton. Okay, that indicates the force on stiffener. That is our requirement now. Okay, no, so this requirement will be satisfied by the buckling check, that is nothing else but we can say compression force, like we always do in case of the stiffener. So buckling resistance, FQD, that is effective area into FCD. So now let's do the plan for that one. This is the same plan as this one, but now what will happen, that stiffener will make wave also effective of the dimension 20 times TW. See, this one is our stiffener. Okay, that is 130 by 10, 130 by 10, and meanwhile it will also make the wave effective, that is this one. This much portion will be effective, that is how much, we can say 20 times TW. Okay, TW is 10, so 20 times TW will be 200. Okay, as you can see, TW is 10. So what we need to do, that we need to carry out the buckling resistance force of this highlighted portion, and buckling resistance force means nothing, we can say area into FCD. Okay, so let's just calculate this one. So FQD equals to effective area into FCD. Effective area, okay, let's calculate. Say 130 into 10, 130 into 10, 2 times. See, 2 times 130 into 10, and we can say 20 times TW from the center, so 2 times 200 into 10. Clear? So by simplifying the term, we will get the answer 6600 mm square. So we have got the answer of area. Now FCD, we know that we have already done this one in the previous step. In order to calculate FCD, what we need to do, we need to calculate slenderness ratio, that is we can say KL by RY, 0.7 D by RY. D, depth of wave 1900, RY, radius of gyration, we all know that root of I by A. Now so we need to calculate I as well as area. So for that one, let's calculate I. So for that one, let's calculate the whole section, that is this one. We can say BD cube by 12, so 10 into the whole depth, 130 plus 10 plus 130, say 260, 270 cube by 12. That's the vertical one. and the horizontal one, that is this one. Now 20 times TW is from the center one, but we can say for the design purpose we can take directly this much as a 20 times TW. So 2 times 20 times TW means 200 into 10 cube by 12. Okay, that will be our, we can say, moment of inertia, as well as we have already calculated the area for that one. See, that's what I've done over here. See, 10 into 130 plus 10 plus 130 cube by 12 plus 2 times 200 into 10 cube by 12. So simplifying the term, I will get the answer 16.44 into 10 raised to 6 mm raised to 4, and we have already calculated this area earlier over here, just you can see. Okay, as we have got the value of I and A, let's calculate this one. Just a minute. So Ry equals to, just let me zoom in. Yeah, so Ry equals to root of I by I, that is 16.44 into 10 raised to 6, area 6600. By simplifying the term, I will get the answer 49.9 mm. Once we get the Ry, let's calculate KL by Ry. 0.7 D by Ry. 0.7 D is 1900 and Ry, that is 49.9. So by simplifying the term, I will get the answer 26.65. So 26.65, it is our slenderness ratio. Let's go to the table number 9C, page number 42. We will get the FCD. Say for 26.65, just a minute. Let me zoom the sketch. See, table 9C, and yield stress is our 250. Now as our KL by Ry, that is 26.65, we will get the value by interpolation. See, just a minute, it is between 20 to 30. Our answer is, we can say this one, 420 2 to 4, 430 211. So on the difference of 10, the value is 13. So we can say for 6.5, it is how much? So 13 into 6.5 by 10. Whatever the answer we will get, deduct it from the 2 to 4, as the value decreases as KL by Ry increases. Okay, so by interpolation we will get the answer. Just a minute. Okay, just a minute. See, now from the value of KL by Ry 26.65, yield says 250. By interpolation method, FCD comes 215. We can say 35 from table number 9C. Once we get the FCD, now we can easily calculate the buckling force. That is effective area into FCD. Effective area is 6600. FCD, that is 215.34. So our answer comes 1421.26 into 10 raised to 3 Newton. Let's convert it into kilonewton. That is 1421.26 kilonewton. It should be greater than FQ, which we have calculated earlier. Just a minute, let me take you to the FQ over here. Yeah, see, that was 891.37. that was our requirement, and against of it we have got the FQD, that is 1421, which is greater than FQD, and it's okay, the stiffener is safe against the buckling. Okay, and we need to carry out one more check for that one, but we cannot do this check as there is no factor point load acting on the girder. See, stiffener subjected to external loads and the moments should satisfy the following interaction equation for the stiffener below the point load. That formula stands for this one on the page number 62. Just a minute, let me take you to the formula. Just a minute. Okay, formula is on the page number 67 over here, the same clause which we have used earlier, 8.7.2.5. just a minute. Yeah, just a minute. See, we have already used this check. FQD equals to V minus VCR by gamma m0. On the same clause, the formula is given over here. FQ minus Fx divided by FQD plus Fx divided by F. Just a minute, let me zoom in. Yeah. Fx divided by Fxd plus mq divided by myq should be less or equals to 1. But this formula can be used only when there is a factor point load acting on the girder. Right now in our plate girder, factor point load is not acting, so we should avoid this check. Okay, so let's go back to the design. So I have given disclaimer over here, but as point load is not acting on the girder, this check is not required as per this. Okay, over here one printing mistake is there. It is on the page number 67. So this one is the design of, we can say, ITS, that is step number 10. Okay, design of ITS. Now the last two steps will be similar like on Stephen plate girder design. See, whether you are designing on Stephen plate girder or Stephen plate girder, first two steps and last two steps will be always similar. Okay, so let's just calculate this one. Step number 11, well connecting wave plate and flange. So for that one, horizontal shear force per mm length of the wave, QW equals to V AFY bar divided by twice IZ. Okay, unknown parameter V, that is maximum shear force VZ. Step number 2, 2160 kilonewton. Let's convert it into Newton. Then AF, area of flange, that is 600 by 50 mm, which we have provided. Then Y bar, that is CG with respect to ZZ axis, that is always from the center of flange to the center of the plate girder, this one, TF by 2 plus D by 2 and IZ. Okay, let me take you to the sketch for that one. In step number 3, we have provided the cross section of the I section. Just a minute. Now say first of all, let's calculate Y bar, that was from the center, just a minute, from the center of flange to the ZZ axis, this dimension. So it is nothing, we can say TF by 2 plus D by 2. TF is 50, so 50 by 2 25, and D, that is 1800, so 1800 by 2, so that is 900. So ultimately that will be 925. That will be value of Y bar. Clear? And then IZ means moment of inertia with respect to ZZ axis, means box method. We can calculate directly moment of inertia with the use of the box method. So whole BD cube by 12, that is 600 into 2000 cube by 12, and from that one just deduct the central portion. Okay, so we can say 600 minus this 10 into, we can say, this depth of wave cube by 12, so we will get this one. Okay, so just a minute. See, Y, as I told you, 15 by 2, this one 1900 by 2, that is 975. I, that is box method, 600 into 2000 cube by 12 minus 600 minus 10 into 1900 cube by 12, so 6.28 into 10 raised to 10 mm raised to 4. Once we have got all the values, let's calculate QW, that is V 2160 into 10 raised to 3, AF, that is 30,000, Y bar 975, and IZ 6.28 into 10 raised to 10, 2 times. By simplifying the term, I will get the answer 503.03 Newton per mm. Let's convert it into kilonewton per mm, that is 0.503 kilonewton per mm. So this one is our requirement to connect the wave with the flange. So we can provide the maximum, we can say the capacity of the weld per mm, that is always 0.793, like we always do. Say strength of weld P equals to LW into TT into FWD, unknown as per this clause, 10.5.9, page number 7980. Now LW per mm, that means 1. Throat thickness 0.7 times S. For that one we need to calculate S. So S is assumed between 3 to 6 mm, so we will always assume the maximum, that is 6. So from that one I will get the value of throat thickness 0.7 times S, 0.7 times 6, so I will get the answer 4.2 mm. And FWD, that is design strength of weld, that is always two value, 158 for the field welding and 189 for the soft welding. So I will use the soft welding, that is 189 Newton per mm square. Now let's put down this all value in this formula. P equals to LW 1, TT 4.2 and FWD, that is 189. So our answer will be 793.8 Newton per mm. Let's convert it into kilonewton per meter, sorry mm, 0.793 kilonewton per mm. So this one is the strength which we can provide maximum, and it should be greater than QW, that is over here 0.503. It is getting satisfied and it's okay. So now consider the intermediate weld. So we are providing intermediate weld for 1 mm effective length. Let's just calculate center to center spacing ratio, that is P divided by QW. P is 0.793 and we have calculated QW 0.503. okay, so answer is 1.58. Now let's just assume the effective length of weld. You can assume this length between 50 to 100 mm. okay, I have assumed right now 50 mm over here. In the unsiphoned plate girder I have assumed the 100 mm as well. You can assume any of this one. So center to center spacing means we can say multiplication of this one, ratio as well as effective length. So center to center spacing ratio 1.58, effective length of weld 50. So I will get the answer 78.86 mm. okay, then clear spacing means from center to center spacing we will get one edge minus. See, that means just draw a sketch for that one. See, like this one is center to center spacing, and clear spacing means we need this one is clear spacing. So from center to center spacing we need to deduct half from both sides, so ultimately one whole effective length will be minus. okay, so formula stands for center to center spacing of weld minus 2 times half of effective length. So 78.86 minus 2 times half of 50, that is effective length of weld. So ultimately answer comes 28.86. now so it is, we can say, let's assume as a 50 mm. okay, now this length should not be greater than 12 times thickness. okay, as per the close of page number 79, 10.5.5.2, a statement is there for that one. Now we have two thickness over here. One is the thickness of flange and one is the thickness of wave. Flange thickness is 50 mm, wave thickness is 10 mm. So obviously minimum thickness will be thickness of wave, that is 10 mm. So 12 times 10, so 120. So that indicates that this clear spacing should not be greater than, we can say, this one. How much? That is 120. So right now it is not greater than, hence okay, we can say provide 6 mm size of fillet weld having clear spacing 50 mm and effective length of weld is also 50 mm on each side of the wave. okay, so that's the first check. And then the last one, that is weld connecting wave plate and end stiffener. So now we are going to design the welding connection between the wave and stiffener. Now for that one, on page number 67, let me take you page number 67. Just a minute. On page number 67, our close is there, that is 8.7.2.6. see, connection of intermediate stiffener to the wave, and the formula stands for TW square divided by 5ES. so let's just calculate this term. See here, between each component of the stiffener and wave, Q1 equals to TW square divided by 5ES as per this close. 8.7.2.6, page number 67. Unknown parameter TW. So TW, that is thickness of wave, that is not 16, sorry, once again printing mistake is there, that is 10. And BS, that is outstanding width of the stiffener. Now over here we have provided two stiffener, one end bearing and one in ITS. So obviously we need to take the minimum thickness. So minimum thickness will be obviously of ITS, that is 130. okay, now let's put down these two values. okay, this one is 10, these two values over here. So 10 square divided by 5ES, so 5 times 130. So answer comes 0.15 kilonewton per mm. So that's the answer of Q1. okay, then Q2, that is net SF divided by length of weld. So for that one, length of weld, like we already discussed in the unstiffened plate girder, length of stiffener is always D minus 2 times chamfer. Chamfer is the cut which we provide to connect the stiffener with the wave of 15 mm. okay, so 2 times 15 will be deducted from the D, So answer is 1870 mm. So we have got the length of well. Now we need to calculate net SF. Okay, so to calculate net SF, formula stands for, like we discussed in previous plate girder also, Vz minus SF resisted by wave. Now Vz, already we have the value of Vz from step number 2. SF resisted by wave is always FCDW minus 2. Okay, at the end dispersion as occurs only on one side, so it will be divided by 2. Okay, so for FCDW, over here we can see the buckling resistance of the wave. So buckling resistance of the wave, for that one formula is on the page number 67, V1 plus N1 into TW into FCD. But as point load is not acting on the girder, we cannot take this one, so it is taken as 0, and also KL by R by ratio will be too much large, so ultimately FCD will be 0 ultimately for this one. So ultimately FCDW will be 0. So finally our net SF will be only up to Vz, and we have already value of Vz 2160. So we have got the value of net SF 2160 over here, and length of well, that is 1870. Let's put down this formula. So Q2 equals to net SF 2160, and we can say length of well 1870. So answer comes 1.16 kilonewton per mm. So that's the value of Q2. So finally QW equals to Q1 plus Q2, Q1.15 and Q2, that is 1.16. So answer comes 1.31. Okay, once we get the QW, so strength of wind on each side, so that is QW by 2. So 1.31 by 2, we will get our total requirement, that is 0.65 kilonewton per mm. So that's our actual requirement to connect the wave with the stiffener, and we have already provided in the previous step, that is P is 0.793. Do not need to show this calculation once again, we have already calculated it in the step number 11. Okay, so we have already P, that is 0.793, which is greater than Q, and so okay, so we need to follow the same steps as we described in the previous step. So consider intermediate weld for 1 mm effective length, center to center spacing ratio P divided by QW. P is 0.793, QW is 0.65, so answer comes 1.21. Let's assume once again effective length of weld 50. As I told you, you can assume 50 to 100 anyone. So then center to center spacing will be multiplication of these two, ratio as well as effective length. 1.21 multiplied by 50, answer is 60.65. Okay, so finally clear spacing will be, we can say, one effective length will be deducted from the center to center, so 60.65 minus 2 times half of 50, so ultimately answer comes 10.65. so I am assuming as of 50 mm, and it should not be greater than 12 times T. Now over here we have two thicknesses, thickness of wave and thickness of stiffener. Right now both thickness is 10 mm, so 12 times T, 12 times 10, 120. So 50 mm is not greater than 120, hence okay. I can provide 6 mm size of fillet well having clear spacing 50 mm, as well as effective length of well is also 50 mm on both sides of the web. And lastly, step number 13, sketch. Say this one is the longitudinal section of the stiffener, means we are watching it from the side view, or we can say this one is the top and bottom flange of the stiffener of plate girder, not stiffener. Okay, this one is our flange. Then just a minute, this one is our wave. Okay, and we are providing, first of all, this one is our end bedding stiffener, which is provided at end, and while the remaining ones are our ITS. These are our ITS, and we have provided the welding. Okay, for that one you can see all the narration over here, and bedding stiffener. Okay, then ITS, that is this one, and we can say this one also, and we can say this one also. These are our ITS. Okay, now these are the welding which we have provided in step number 11 to connect the wave with the, we can say, flange. Okay, then these are the welding, just a minute, these are the welding you can see of the step number 12, which connect the wave with the stiffener. Clear? Then this one is the top view. Say this one is our flange, then this one is our wave, then This is our hand bearing stiffener, you can see the notation, and this is our ITS. You can see, and the welding which we are watching right now, this one, it is connecting wave with the flange, means it is the welding of step number 12. And then we need to cross two sections. Say section AA means we will see end bearing stiffener over here along the both side of the wave. As you can see, cross section is I section, typical plate girder. Okay, and this one is our end bearing stiffener. Clear? And this vertical welding means it is connecting stiffener with the wave. And then we need to pass one more section, cross section over here from the ITS, so we can see the ITS along with the cross section. See, this one is cross section and this one is our ITS. And again the welding which is of step number 12, connecting wave with the stiffener. Okay, so this was the design of stiffen plate girder. Hope so you have got all the concept. So myself, Assistant Professor Gaurang Prajapati, signing off.